Shalom, shalom, this is a brother Amor Clara. Back with another lesson, giving all praises, honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rucha Kodash, Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and the elder bishops, the great millstone, peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, man, and also to the one that's left there to, and also to the great multitude destined for salvation, from the doom to come to this earth, man. And our salvation will come by the way of the chariots, man. So I wanted to do a lesson on that because, yesterday at camp in the evening time when it was dark, we was doing the camp and there was a procession of chariots, man. Must have been more than 20, just going in a line towards the east, man. And that's significant in itself. They're on their way. The Lord, we face the east to pray to the Most High, man. So they're heading back to the Heavenly Father, man. And there was a little conversations about after camp and stuff, because we all saw them. And obviously we know through the scriptures and that they've always been around. But it's only the documentations have changed, right? There was paintings and and then photographs have been taken, and now people can film them, man. So you can go on a particular website, you go on YouTube, you can find many videos of the chariots, man. What the world calls UFOs, right? But they're real, and we've seen them. And there was a time where, upon seeing them, brothers will have got their cameras out and stuff. But it's not as though we're not in awe of them anymore. But the time for that is over, man. It's like we know what they are. We know what they're. We know who commands them. We know who's in control of them. We know what the purpose of them is. So the time when we used to document it was more for our own gratification. Sometimes we'd do it for lessons, man. But we was in the lesson yesterday, so it wasn't. We didn't feel the need to do that anymore, man. We don't really feel the need to do that anymore. Well, I'm speaking for myself and a lot of the argument that I was speaking to, but bottom line is, man, these things have always been around, and I just wanted to show some pictures, of some old portraits, some old paintings that contain pictures of their versions or their vision of the chariots, man. But let's read this first, man. Zechariah 5:1, it says, "Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll." When you go to Ezekiel, it tells you, about the chariots, man. It tells you how they maneuver. It tells you who's in control of them. Basically, it just pans it out, man. So it says, "And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. And the reason, really, why it's being described as a roll, because when you go to Ezekiel, the first chapter, it talks about the wheel within a wheel. Alright? So that, I'm pretty sure the chariots, there's different types of chariots, man. You have to imagine that. A lot of the things that we read about, we have to kind of manifest the visions in our minds, man, because we have, not all we have, but we have the scriptures, and the descriptions in the scriptures. So we have to go by that, and we can go by what we see sometimes in the sky, but really and truly what we see is just the lights, man. They're not close enough But when it comes to that doomsday, man, we're going to see them up close and personal, because we're winning. Well, of that number, we're going to be in them. Alright? Verse 3 says, and he said unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off, as on this side according to it, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off on that side according to it. So these are a curse unto the heathens and unto the wicked of our people, but unto us there's salvation, man. You know. So let's look at the pictures that I was talking about. So I haven't really looked over them, so they're going to be, some of them are going to be kind of a surprise to me also. So this is is there a UFO in that Renaissance painting? See 7 historical artworks that possibly depict close encounters with the third kind. You know, here they are depicting the baptism of their version of Yahweh Shai. Well, it's not Yahweh Shai, it's just Jesus Christ, who means nothing to us, man. And look, really, look at those, man. Look at those, man. Clouds, man. The scriptures describe the chariots as clouds as well, man. Whirlwinds as well as the wheels, you know. So you can't make this stuff up, man. It's you know, it's quite evident that what we're talking about here is real. Look at this. Look at that. Why would you paint something like that? And when was this? That's 1428. I haven't got my glasses on, so forgive me. 1428, man. It says the Florentine painter Masolino da Panicali, the miracle of the snow. It says the Florentine painter created this altarpiece to commemorate the founding of Roman Basilica Santa Maria Maggiore. Legend has it that the church's site was chosen by the Virgin Mary herself, who caused snow to fall. Listen, see, we don't get into all of that, man, because we don't revere Mary like that. Alright, she's just a woman. Fair enough, she was the mother of Yahweh Shai. Yes, we can respect that. But we don't worship Mary like the Catholics do, alright? So I'm going to skip over that because I don't really want to read into all that. It says that the Panicali's depiction of lenticular clouds look akin to a fleet of alien spaceships overseen by Yahweh Shai and Mary, even though the depiction is off. You know, because this is Renaissance times, right? So Renaissance is what? The rebirth of the Edomites, man, of the Edomites and their power structure. They had to paint over the icons, man, to make it look like they are the people of power. They are the people that are, you know, of the Most High, man. Where was it says, could the so-called miracle of the snow be an allegory for an invasion of foreign sources? It's worth noting that even in the colder seasons, snow is rare in Rome, but then again, so are UFOs, presumably. And they're clearly chariots, man. You don't paint clouds like that, especially when you've seen them. And as a painter, why would you depict the clouds like that? You'd want them to look like clouds. And as someone that is, you know, into art myself, I have a few skills when it comes to, you know, drawing and stuff. You wouldn't draw or paint a cloud like that, man. This is Jacques Legrand. This is 1430, man. That's going even further back, and that's clearly, you know, a depiction of a chariot right there. Let's see what it says. Contemporary interest in the pages of the illuminated manuscript. Livre de Bonne Mires, or Mir, I don't know how to say that last word, has less to do with its content, which teaches good manners to folks from clerics to commoners, but a striking image on folio. 129 verses in rich tones. It depicts the goddess of luck, Fortuna, beside her wheel, surrounded by a group of male petitioners with a decorated gold sphere hovering bizarrely in the sky above them. Could it be the sun, a hot air balloon, another representation of the wheel of fortune? No one has figured it out, but you bet the ufologists have. And you got to just be honest with yourself when you see things like that. That's not the sun. What do they say? A hot air balloon. It's not one of those things, man. It's just that your mind has to be open to the truth, which is that the chariots exist. You know, Madonna with another chariot. I'm not going to go through all of these, but they are interesting to look at, man. And to be fair to you, although they're depicting, you know, Edomites, you got to appreciate the skill, you know. Right, what's this one say? Alright, no, that doesn't really depict anything to do with the chariots. So we'll skip that one. What else we got? Carlo Crivelli, the Annunciation with Saint Emidius, 1486. They all seem to be in the word. That's the error. That's the error, isn't it? Renaissance error. It says Crivelli's luxury. Let's look at it. It's like, let's not rush over these. You know, they're beautiful. To be fair, let's just keep it real, man. And here we have right there, amongst the clouds, a chariot. It says Crivelli's luxurious, and it is luxurious, man. There's a lot of detail in there, a lot of colours, a lot of you know, beautiful colours and detail going on there, sharp lines and stuff, you know. Crivelli's luxurious detail work offers his artistic interpretation of the Annunciation, the Archangel's announcement to Mary that she will soon bear the Christian Messiah. But once again, you know, you know, the era where this is the era of Renaissance, man, where they're basically covering up the truth. I've seen this one before. So yeah, man, I'm not going to read anymore, but let's just look at this one. You know, all you got to do is really just change the skin tone of the characters in these pictures, man, and you're on point. Unfortunately, you know, the Lord had it that we would, our heritage would be removed, man, you know. So he's done a number on us, basically, man. Let's just keep it real. And why? Because we didn't do what we're supposed to do. Simple as that. In fact, no, let's get that. Jeremiah 17:4 says, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have killed with a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. And see, you know, that's a curse on us, right? And the enemies are the same people that were repainting or going over the pictures or repainting the pictures. Some of the pictures were painted over, some of them were repainting. Right? What am I doing? What do I want? Just beware. Just bear with me, I should was trying to say. something else first, but no, let's just stick with this because we did read in Zechariah about the curse that goeth over the whole earth, man. So this is Jeremiah, and what I tell them one, it says, hear ye the word which the Lord Yahweh speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, because they are signs in heaven, man. It says, for the heathen are dismayed at them, and that's also talking about the chariots. It's talking about, when we have the eclipses and the lunar eclipse, the solar eclipse, the blood moons, all these things that go, because there's going to be plenty more signs to come, right, before that dark day for the earth. When Yahushua returns, man. Saying that, let's just go quickly to Revelation 1. And it says, 1 and 7, it says, behold, this is talking about Yahushua, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him. Right? So you have to really have the understanding when you're reading that, right? Because imagine the Christians, or imagine the pastor in the church reading that precept right there. Now, what are they teaching the congregation when it says, and they also which pierced him? If you're a Christian, knowing what Christians know, because most of us have come up in that Christian lifestyle, they wouldn't understand that because they don't believe in reincarnation. They think that's the heathens' beliefs, whereas really it's our fact. It's not even a belief, it's a fact. So them same centurions that put the spear through Yahushua, and the gold block gushed out or whatever, that last stroke, then they're back on the earth today, man, because they come back, in the fourth generation, third and fourth generations. So they're here again, because that's how you serve your judgment. Your judgment is on earth, not in a fantasy place called hell. It says, all kindreds of the earth shall well because of him, even so among. So all the nations, all the tribes of the earth are going to well when Yahushua returns, because of what they've been doing on this earth and what they've been doing to the Lord's people, man. So let's go to Zechariah 1 anyway, man. I should really get that because... No, not Zechariah 1, it's like Ezekiel 1. We went to Zechariah already. Ezekiel 1. I'll start from 4. It says, and I looked and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north. So remember I said that the chariots describes different types of things. Whirlwinds, obviously chariots, clouds, and this time it's a whirlwind, right? It says a great, and it says a cloud anyway, and a fire enfolding itself, because remember when Yahushua was taking us through the wilderness, man, after the Exodus, there was a chariot by night of fire and a chariot by day of a cloud, man, covering the Israelites, man. Remember that great fire on Mount Sinai? There was a chariot there, man. In fact, now I've said that, I'm going to have to select and forgive me from jumping around a bit, but it just came to my mind. What am I doing? Right. Psalm 68 and 17, and like I said, we saw over 20 chariots last night, so that's just a small pinch of the Lord's power, man. A tiny, minute percentage. It says the chariots of the Most High are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them, as in Sinai, in the holy place. So, that's how Moses received, the laws, man. Right? Man, the scriptures are so deep, man. Some of it can be simple, but some of it you really have to put the pieces together. So we've always been taught like that, you know. So it's a mystery, it's a puzzle to be put together. That's why most people, when they just try to read it, I've tried to read it outside the truth. Before I came into this truth, the Spirit was on me to pick up the book, man. You know, I started reading it again before I understood what this truth was about and who I was. I started reading it. Something, you know, the Spirit takes over you in such a way where it starts to point you in the right direction, man. And if you start just leaning with it, it will take you all the way, man. It's a beautiful thing. You know, I remember I was going off of eating all the abominable foods that just didn't taste right to me anymore. You know, I was just moving differently. The world just seemed the world didn't seem the same anymore, man. Anyway, that's just a quick testimony from me, just saying. You know, but let's get back to Ezekiel, man. So it says, verse 5 says, also out of the midst there came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man, and everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings, and their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the colour of burnished brass. What's that remind you of, man? You know, burnt brass, man. It's the same colour as Yahweh Shai. So they're the same colour, man. Listen, the Lord is dealing with us like that, right? We're all made in His likeness, man. When it talks about, see, the heathens think, or the Christians think, when it's talking about the likeness, it's talking about as, you know, bipedal creatures with, you know, 2 arms, 2 legs, and you know, and all of that. It really means in the likeness of the Heavenly Father, how, you know, the skin tone, the hair like wool, and all of that stuff, man. It says, and they had the hands of a man under their wings, on their 4 sides, and they 4 had their faces and their wings. But I don't really want to read about the angels, man. I want to get to the point. Right, so this is the point. So verse 12 says, and they went everyone straight forward, whither the Spirit was to go. They went, and they turned not when they went. Hold on. Right, this is what it's like as well. So it says, now as I behold the living creatures, behold one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his 4 faces. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the colour of a beryl. And you know what, let me remind myself what that actually looks like. See, people underestimate these stones. I'm not a stone expert, so I'm not going to act like I am, but I know full well that there's power in these stones. I don't even want to do that. It's doing too much. There's power in these stones. You know what I mean? There's power in them, man. Alright? Brothers that are more learned than me will tell you that there's power in these stones, man. These are all natural minerals of the earth, of course, man. The Lord doesn't create things for no reason, man. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm trying to get a picture up, but there you go. And it's a beautiful sight to behold, man. You know, just in its natural form, man. And we're going to go back to using these things. But forgive me, I'm digressing again. So yeah, where was I now? Ezekiel, yeah. Right, yeah. So 16. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the colour of a beryl, and they four had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. And you know what? I saw one that I zoomed in on. It was stationary. This is years ago. It was early morning on my way to work. It was still dark. That's how early it was, and I was nearly at work. And I saw it, and I took the picture. I remember I sent it to Zakwan, my elder, and he said, "Yeah, you should definitely do a lesson." And what it was a wheel. It was like a circle with a smaller circle in the middle of it, man. Literally a wheel within a wheel, and it was kind of a bluish. With the cameras you can't tell, but it was probably the same colour as the barrel, man. I'm just saying, And it says, when they went upon their four sides, and they turned not when they went. But I'm just trying to get to the point, because I've been on this for long enough as it is. Verse 19, this is to get to the point, right? So this is going to just show you how they maneuver, how they control. It says, and when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them, and when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. Whithersoever the spirit was to go, they went, thither was their spirit to go, and the wheels were lifted up over against them, for the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. So it's a connection. You could call it like a symbiotic or a biological connection, or it's even, no, so like, what am I saying? It's a spiritual connection. We can't really talk about it on a physical. It's a spiritual connection, man. It's all a spiritual connection. Right? It says when those, because it's like I'm going off. It's like let me read this. It says that's why you got to read more than talk less. When those went, these went, and when those stood, these stood, and when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up over against them. For the spirit of the living creature was in the wheel. And it says it twice there. So, when I said this, I'm trying to explain it in the carnal terms, man, but really it's a spiritual thing. There's a spiritual connection. How do you think they maneuver the way they maneuver, man? You've seen the videos. You've seen the videos of them coming up against the fighter jets and coming up against heavy artillery from ground artillery, man. Surface to air stuff, and just maneuvering around it, dodging everything. So yeah, man, it's deep. It's deep, and all that we've seen them. I would read 2 Ezra 13th chapter, but it's a long one, so I'm not going to read that right now. But that talks about the size of them as well. Yahushua at the helm, man. So everyone's going to see them, man. And that day, it's going to be glorious, man. So I don't know what else to say. It's going to be glorious. Lord willing, like I say, we always have to say that, man. Nothing is promised, but we have to believe. We have faith, man. Not saying that because we don't know. We don't. No, we're not sitting there saying we believe that we're going to be on those chariots, man. So let's just get that real quick, and I'm going to close out on this, man. 1 Thessalonians 4:13. I'm going to read to the end. It says, but I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that ye sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. For if we believe that Yahushua died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Yahushua will Yahweh bring with him. So that those that died in this truth, man, those that believed and did the work, man, the faith and the works, they had them both, and they had the truth. They're going to be raised up first, man. That's their honor. That's an honor, right? And then those that are still alive will follow. It says, for this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep. They have their place. That's telling you that basically, they've died. They've passed on to the spiritual realm. Let's say it like that. right? But us here, we haven't taken their place. Their place is already secure because of the elect is already secured. The Lord says none can take them out of my hand. Remember that. So the elect are the elect. There's nothing that's going to ever stop the elect from making it. It's already been promised from when they were in the womb. The Lord said He knew them in the womb, man. Before they were in the womb, slacking. It says, for the Lord Himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of Yahweh, and the dead in Hamashiach shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. So the clouds again, that's talking about the chariots. See, that's how you know that the Christians don't understand. They think that what's it called? What do they call it? I can't remember the name, what they call it. It's bugging me now. Rapture. They call it the rapture, right? So what for putting in my spirit to remember that. But yeah, they call it the rapture, man. They think that the clouds are floating up into heaven. They think heaven is like actually somewhere in the sky, in a realm in the sky. But we know there's a realm, there's a spiritual realm, another dimension. But the heaven that we talking about ruling, first and foremost, is on earth. So these clouds basically is what I'm saying, getting to is, that's talking about the chariots once more. It says, to meet the Lord in the air, so shall we ever be with the Lord. Wherefore comfort one another with these words. And it is comforting, especially when you see them. It's a faith booster, man. Especially when all the brothers are out teaching together, right? And then you see them. You know, I could get so many scriptures, man, but you know, we've done this, and there'll be other lessons about the chariots, no doubt, man. I just wanted to do this little one on that, man. So yeah, Lord, when this is edifying, I want to give all praises, honor and glory to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Ruach HaKodesh, to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Double honor to the apostles and the other bishops, the great millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect. Salutations also and blessings on the great multitude destined for salvation by way of these chariots as well. Shalom.